European Super League still got me in disbelief. But where was all that energy when my man said I couldn't breathe? When Lacazette took that knee, but they all wanna make noise for the P. Directors are vultures full of greed. What? European Super League still got me in disbelief. But where was all that energy when my man said I couldn't breathe? When Lacazette took that knee, but they all wanna make noise for the P. Directors are vultures full of what?
United got the victory, 3-1. Nice 8 points behind Manchester City. Manchester United managed to get past Burnley. It was a tight game. As always, it feels like these days. Manchester United, I remember in the first leg, we were struggling to score. We had a tactic of low drilling it, low crosses behind the tall towers of the defense, and we managed to nick a goal. This time, Manchester United took a different route. We opened them up, counter-attacking football as well towards the end of the game. Look, it was beautiful to see. Mason Greenwood bossed the game, and I am happy for it. Now, look, before we get into it, yeah, Eggs, I don't know if you heard about this, but there is a proposal for a Super League. Now, this Super League consists of the top 6 Premier League clubs, including Manchester United, Liverpool, Arsenal, Chelsea,
Right.
and the top 3 from the other leagues, all coming into a league where nobody can be relegated, apparently. And, you know, yeah, and they're all just going to be competing in somewhat of a Champions League on steroids. Now, what's your views on it? Because for me personally, I looked at that thinking, you know, one, the timing was poor because this broke out like half time or whilst it's today, and it, you know, the news spread. And 2, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer got questioned on this, and no questions about the match. And it just made me feel like Ole's obviously not going to give you anything. So, do you know what? I was a bit like, what is this all about? But let me know what you guys say.
Yeah, because you know what, the thing is, I kind of read about it right before kickoff that the teams are planning on making an announcement. And then I think around halftime, when the game was going on, then what do you call it? The Premier League and UEFA released a statement. So when they release a statement, that's when you know that it was, because there's been talk about this for almost like a year now. That something like this was going to happen. I mean, like they've been discussing about it, but it's always tried to be like, I think the man of name. I heard what Gary Neville was saying, and he was just kind of like spot on. It's if you join something like that, I mean, as far as it means like, what's the point of it? Because you cannot get relegated for me, and I don't even know if you win it, what you get out of it. It's just not fun, you know. And what's the point of playing a competition when there is nothing like at the end of the tunnel, except for money? And if it's just about money, then I don't know. It killed the spirit for us as fans. It does kill the spirit for us as fans. Because, yeah, I mean, on this current of form, I'd rather be playing Leicester City week in, week out than be playing Arsenal week in, week out. Because Leicester on paper, they are much better team than Arsenal is. So who want to see Man United versus Arsenal? I don't want to see that. They're going downhill, you know. And if you do something, what about some of the teams that's coming? I mean, right now, Man United West Ham is a good game. You know, so you want to kind of like encourage some of these teams. Like, if this was the case, Man City a few years back, they were nothing. So competition like this would have stopped them being where they are right now. You know, so I don't know. I feel like just because it got leaked out and everybody just speaking so negative about it, they might just kind of like back off it too, because there's something like if the players play in that competition, they cannot play for their national team, and that's just. It's just going to be a whole lot of like lawyers involved. And this is football. Football is on the pitch. It shouldn't be like in the courtroom and then players trying to find out, hey, you know what, can I play for it? It's just unnecessary. And I don't think they can do something like that for preseason, but not during the season.
And that's what I'm thinking as well. So, like, I look at it like, I look forward to I know we're not in Champions League this season, but I look forward to Manchester United earning their way to play in a tournament where you're playing for the likes of your PSGs, your Bayern Munich, your Barcelonas. I like us to earn it, not be thrown into something by default because of our history. We haven't been this team that they're saying for the last God knows how many seasons now. Do you know what I mean? We're still trying to find our consistency. And that's, you know, I don't see I don't see it being like football evolves, right? And like you said, City's come out of nowhere, right? City's come out of nowhere to be this top team now. And if we're basing our logic off today about top 6 teams, what does that mean for those other teams that could potentially come out of the woodworks, maybe do it the right way, some would say, because, you know, instead of being taken over by super owners, no digs. But I'm just saying, like, what's it going to leave teams like Leicester City when they won the Premier League and they went up against the biggest of, you know, teams and they did it? It's going to remove all of that now, and no one's really going to see it as being worthwhile now. If a West Ham now goes on to win the Premier League, for example, because everyone's going to be like, you know what, the competition's gone. It's not going to feel the same.
It's not going to feel the same. Yeah, like even look around at the top 4 race, for example. Now, if there's a case of a Super League, and then what do you call it? You go Liverpool, Chelsea, West Ham, and even like Tottenham all trying to get into the top 4. I mean, if they know that they're going to play in the Super League, you think Mourinho will be there trying so hard to win a football game? They're like, you know what? I don't care. I'm going to be inside anyway. I can feel like some second team just to be in there because they don't really care where they finish because they can even finish. They can get relegated to the Championship and they will still be playing in the European Super. And when you do that, then what's the point of having them? Frank Lampard will still be in the job because Chelsea wouldn't care where they finish because they're still going to get the money anyway, you know? But you set a certain kind of a standard, like, you know what, top 4 teams get to play there. Everybody earn their right to be in there. And that's what football is about right now. You know, I'm sitting there today. Yesterday, I was watching the West Ham game. Normally, I wouldn't even watch it. But I'm actually watching it to say, hey, you know what, can they get into the top 4? If there was no point of them getting the top 4, I'm not watching that. And the games between West Ham and Newcastle becomes games that nobody is going to watch because what's the point of it?
Exactly. I think you're right. I think you're right as well. So all of that, I know during COVID, do you know what I mean? In terms of like not having any fans, TV money became really important. You know, getting funding clubs through TV money, through people watching and all of that stuff. You're taking away the big clubs. No one's going to want to be tuning into the Premier League no more. Who's going to be wanting to watch these clubs? Like a lot of the fan base, Liverpool, Man United in particular, Arsenal, the heritage of the Premier League is all going to be leaving and they're going to be watching, everyone's going to be tuning into a Super League and it's going to cripple these lower teams. It's really like, let's just relate it to cryptocurrency. You're taking away Bitcoin from the cryptocurrency world. It's going to cripple the whole cryptocurrency market.
Right. Like, it does. It does. And nowadays, so you look at a team like AC Milan, they don't really have a lot of players. So what's changed? Team like AC Milan versus Man, it's not the same as it used to be because AC Milan don't really have enough good players there anyway. You know, so I'm not gonna sit there and watch teams like Manchester Milan. I mean, we watch it, what they call it, Europa League, and let's face it, it wasn't that much of a great game. You know, like the second leg, also it was when Pogba came on. You want to see some of the best players too, and right now the traditional clubs don't have the best players in the world. Napoli now got more good players than AC Milan does. So you're telling me like, oh, you're going to play AC Milan and even Napoli because they're not part of the traditional. Like, no, football don't work that way. Football is literally you earn. It's played on merit. That's what football is about. It's earned on merit. And for you to reward someone for doing nothing, that's just out of the question.
It's clearly there's no competition there. If you can't get relegated, there's no competition there. And then you just go into the talk of it's money. It's money, money, money. This whole thing's set up on money. These biggest clubs got the most money. You're talking about these clubs now, they own 60-70% of what they've got, about 60-70% of the wealth in the Premier League. If you're talking about all of these top European clubs, you put their money together, they will buy out all of the leagues and more. Do you know what I mean? That's what you're talking about taking away. And it all comes down to money. And it brings the question to this, because Manchester United fans, and I'm sure this is going on in other fan bases, have all been screaming about, you know, the Woodwards not having an interest. I mean, not all Woodward, sorry, the Glazers and Woodward not having that sort of, they're not supporters of the club. They're businessmen. They don't have that vested interest really about whether we're lifting a trophy in a sense where they'll be happy. They're looking at the bank balances going, wow, how much revenue does this bring in from winning a trophy? And now you can see those decisions are being supported by these super leagues. Now you can see it, like with all these top clubs, you can see where their heart really lies, you know, what's driving their decision making. and it just reinforces everyone's fears, everyone's worries about who's owning our club. If you really had someone like a Gary Neville, for example, sitting at that board, like you saw the passion that he was having now, you would hope that it will happen like that there, not being like these businessmen that are all thinking about how they can make the next £1 million in dividends. So for me, it's a sad thing, but it's looking like it's going to get blocked off anyway. Premier League's not backing it. A lot of institutions are not backing it. So let's see, man. Let's see how it goes, man. I'm sure this is going to be over sports for the next, few days, weeks, whatever. But let's get into the match. Let's get into the match. This is what we're here for. This is what I'm here for. The real Manchester United fans are going to talk about today. Manchester United look, it was a smash and grab. Professional job. We got the victory. Look, I want to start off with the lineup, right? So when I saw the lineup, I thought, the only thing that raised flags to me was Fred and Scott McTominay. And the reason why I say that is because I don't think we needed both of them. I know Burnley's physical, but I don't think that we needed both of them for this game. Scott McTominay maybe more so because of his height and he's strong. Fred, less so because of his height, sort of disadvantages on his end. I feel like we don't got to worry about not having the ball, counter-attacks. There's no speed there. There's nothing there. So for me, I felt like we should have played them two. I felt like we could have easily gone with Scott McTominay, for example, and Pogba in the heart of the midfield, and then let Rashford, Greenwood, and whoever, Cavani, whoever, you want to play up top, do their thing. But what was your thoughts on the lineup? Did you agree with Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's decision making?
You know what? Today's lineup and the way the first half was going, it just told me something, and it shows why we are second on the league. Because if you look at the table, Man United, we have lost the same amount of games as Man City. We both lost 4 games, but we have drawn so many games, and we have literally drawn more games because of the fact that we play Scott McTominay and Fred in there. Now, on games that is very tight, and it's kind of like we are drawing the games, you want your midfielder to push a bit more forward to help the attacking player to get that kind of goal. The problem with goal is that Fred and McTominay, they're not good on the ball. So when they decide to kind of like go forward, either the teams expose us by doing the counter attack, or we get like, for you to be a team that wins the league in a situation where the games are tight, you need those players that are good on the ball. Because one thing about it is we don't know how they games. We can pass the balls, but control the game is when you see it, you are also attacking constantly. And we don't seem to be able to do that when Fred and McTominay always play. We have to always do this kind of like defensive thing to like protect the defense. I don't think the defense need protecting, to be honest with you. I've watched the past few weeks, and I don't think our defense is that bad. I think it's our midfield. I think the midfield is the big issue. And this season, if I was Ole, I would be looking to sell either one of Fred or Scott McTominay and get someone who is good on the ball to control it. Because Pogba in it. Pogba, I feel like he's more free when he plays on the left-hand side. For the past few games, he's been playing there. He's been doing well. He loses the ball too much. So when you play him deep there, he's more likely going to lose the ball, and it's going to turn into like a counter-attacking situation. When he's on the left-hand side, it's like he's going to lose the ball most of the time. But when they're losing that kind of position, you got players there to kind of like cover up. So I don't even know where his future lies in terms of the team. Is he going to be a defensive midfielder? Is he going to play on the left? Because now Ole seems to favor him playing more on the left-hand side now, because he don't want him in the middle, and the players that play in the middle, so they really hard on the ball. Fred and McTominay, if you are playing on a counter-attack and you are defending, they are the best players to do it, because they will win the ball and just pass it forward quick. And when you are playing teams like Burnley, where you're going to keep most of the ball, they don't know what to do with the ball when they get the ball. When you give them too much time, they don't know what to give the ball. They don't know whether they are passing it forward. Like, they don't know how to open things up, both of them.
Yeah. I think that's the big flaw of those two, right? And I do feel like we've got to find someone that can play alongside Pogba, because we can't have two guys that don't have any creativity in that midfield, hogging up that key space. If you look at most squads, you know, even if you're talking about the workhorses of Liverpool, for example, Fabinho's really good with the ball. You know, Henderson's
Right.
really good with the ball. You know, all of these guys are really good with the ball. Fred keeps it very basic. Scott McTominay keeps it very basic as well. And when you're trying to open up teams like Burnley and be consistent with it, you know, we have to have their own. I feel like with these games, right? I know we take each game as it comes, but I feel like we're not in control of the own outcome of the game. I feel like every game you have like opportunities and you get a bit of luck here and there. I feel like sometimes Manchester United relies on that a bit and it works out in their favor in games like this. But I don't feel like if you watch a City, I don't feel like they're in control and they're creating their own luck. They're creating everything. I just feel like it's a bit wishy-washy. And even with like down to you're saying that, so the midfield, I reckon, is a huge issue. And I reckon, you know, if we got a proper DM, it'll make a whole world of a difference, right? But at the same time, I do look at our defense and say, United, even though we've kept a lot of clean sheets and stuff, I look at it and say, we've been up against opposition that really hasn't punished us a lot of the time. But secondly, I look at our defending and think, especially with set pieces, corners, wherever it is, and it feels like the opposition has got a penalty. I'm sitting there biting my nose, panicking, saying, this is going to go in our net. Our defense sits so deep. Harry Maguire, Lindelof, all of them. The attackers like Tarkowski, for example, he has that little foot or two to be able to do just a little bit, to have that advantage where they've got the run on you and get that header in like he did today. I don't feel like our players, and I said it many a weeks, we don't attack that ball. We don't go out aggressively and clear that ball. And it's so frustrating because we keep making the same mistakes week in and week out. We give away cheap free kicks or corners, and we know that that's our biggest weakness this season. It really feel like we need a 7-footer or 8-footer to be towering over all of these. I think we need to just buy the tallest centre back in the world to try and help us out of this issue.
But that would not change the issues. So this is where when we talk about it's a defense, that corner kick problem is a coaching problem. It's not even a defensive problem. It's a coaching problem because they set us up that way. They set up us in a zonal frame where we are literally crowded into that little like 6-yard box over there. So when someone put that ball in there, you just need a little bit of touch. We can't even score on goal like that. And when you see the way because today I saw how other teams take their corner kick and how we take it. When we take it, we don't put it in that level 6-yard box. We take it outside the 6-yard box where you're looking for Harry Maguire. They don't do that. They just say, hey, we are putting inside that 6-yard box. That goalkeeper is not coming up because we got someone blocking it. So all you need is someone to just run onto the ball, a little bit of touch, and that ball is in the net. You know, and we have considered goals like that all season. So this is a coaching problem. So the coaches decide, hey, do we want to do zonal marking or do we want to do man-to-man marking doing corners? You know, so you can say all this, you can change this and put any defenders there because look, Harry Maguire is one of the best headers in there. Pogba can head at the ball. Cavani is a good header there too. And what do you call it? Even if when Matches play too, Matches is also a good header on the ball too. So all these people should be like, there should be enough bodies in there to win the headers. And when you do that kind of like thing where we mark the space, we don't mark the players. You know, the good headers, people mark the space there, and then you go your players like Aaron Bissaka or Greenwood tracking like the big headers. That's not gonna work. You know, leave that. Like before, corners was just done basic. The best header guy take on the best header guy. So you will see Harry Maguire take on one of like the biggest like defenders there. It's like, oh, it's me and you. And that's how we used to be. So go back to the basics. Because if I'm not mistaken, I feel like we are one of the teams, maybe Leeds has considered a lot from set pieces. But I think after Leeds, we might be the second team to consider a lot of like from set pieces. And that's because of how we defend it.
It's a big issue. It's a big, massive issue, and it worries me. It's been happening throughout the season. And I remember when David De Gea first came, this has been an issue that has been long-standing. I remember being scared as well when David De Gea was there in his earlier years where, you know, he was getting pinned back into his goal by defenders. They were targeting him, and, you know, in set pieces again, we weren't protecting him enough and was just conceding goal after goal after goal. And it's just a frustrating thing how, no one's been able to sort of figure it out, change something, do something different in order to prevent those goals going in that way. It's a shame. And you know what? Henderson, right, on goalkeepers, I was thinking, Henderson, I saw him, he's coming to the fold. He's stating his claim. He wants to take over David De Gea. And today, was the first game that I saw him where I was just like, this is a bit of a poor performance. Like, don't get me wrong, he done 1-2 mistakes in previous games. I think in European football where he let that goal go in and was sort of leaning back or whatever. But this game, I felt like he was flip-flopping all over the place. I mean, you're coming out to get the ball and you're totally losing the ball, completely losing the ball. When you make a decision to come out of your goal, your line, come for that ball. Look, if you don't take that, you've got to get that ball. You really have got to get that ball. You've got to grab it or punch it as far as possible outside of the danger zone. Henderson failed to do either. And it just caused us issues. And like, even with the set pieces, you would have hoped that Henderson provides you that sort of comfortability where he's coming out and then grabbing it out of the air and just protecting it. And he did it at times, but I don't want to be in a position where I'm thinking, look, we're selling a world-class goalkeeper in David De Gea. He Henderson, and I'm still having doubts. If we're going to be letting go someone that's a Premier League winner, someone that is, experienced, and you're letting go and you're bringing in a newbie, I don't really want to have any issues, queries, any issues. And today I had some queries, man. I'm worried about that, man.
Yeah, but I already spoke to you about this issue. Don't get me wrong. I think he has passed. It's time for him to move on. But when you are letting him move on and you are making Henderson your number one, and I promise you, because we should be looking for a replacement where the next goalkeeper should be like my number one for the next thing. Yes, because when you get a goalkeeper, that's the whole idea around it. And until you actually find that kind of thing, don't let Henderson go. Henderson is not going to be Manchester United number one for 10 years. That is never going to happen. And I can already see the cracks there too. He's trying to play like a sweeper, which is not what nowadays modern goalkeepers play, like, like your Anderson and then your, what do you call it? The Man City goalkeeper too. I forgot his name. I had my brain just broke. But that's how they play. They play like this kind of a sweeper role where they always rush to come out, but you need to do it with a timely pace. Today, he tried to come out one time and he actually clashed with Maguire. They took themselves out, but luckily enough, the ball kind of like fell to Lindelof and then he cleared the ball. So if you're going to do that, your decision making has to be spot on. You need to know when to come and when not to come. But he's reminding me a bit like Pickford. He's very like he will come up for anything. They're just not stable. And I think he's going to give a job. He's going to do a job for the next like year or two. He's going to be what we need. But I don't know if I can rely on him for a whole Premier League season for him to win us the league. I don't know about that, but
I mean,
he's going to do the job, but not to win the Premier League.
I mean, it could be early days. Logically, realistically speaking, David De Gea is still young. He can still be at Manchester United for the next 5 years or easy. But then you're looking at his wages and thinking, if you've got to renew it again at some, I don't know when his contract expires. He's on like 375k. How realistic is that financially, or how does it work out for us keeping him when you can still get a good transfer fee for him, maybe 30 million, 40 million, get that big wage bill off you, and potentially if you're looking at guys like your Haalands or your Kanes in the future, maybe it's wages like that can help sort of balance the books. Or are you thinking, because David De Gea is on 375k, you may have these new guys like Bruno Fernandes and all of these guys are up for contract renewal soon, thinking, do you know what? This guy is on 375k and I want to be matching the highest earner or whatever it is like that. So there's all these other complications that come with David De Gea being at the club. And it's nothing to do with him. It's not his fault. It's how we've just run the club, and it's how we've managed it. And I see it as like where you got Dean Henderson, he's on about 120k. From a financial perspective, it'll probably make sense keeping Henderson. But in terms of a pure out of football on quality and who's better, in my opinion, David De Gea, and losing that experience and that quality, as well as losing Pogba potentially, is going to be an issue. It's going to be an issue, a massive issue.
It will. It will, yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Pogba, I'm going to get onto Pogba in a minute. Outside that transfer stuff, but let me just talk about Rashford, man. Jeez. Look, Rashford, yeah, that guy's skillful as anything, but you know what? When he was playing up top, I weren't seeing Rashford when he was playing through the middle. The minute he went to the left, look, those dribbles, just those one-on-one dribbles where when he's isolating those defenders and he just nutmegs you, he does a 1-2 shimmy, he's gone. Look, Rashford has got a lot of potential to be one of the best forwards in the world. He probably already is one of the best, but he can set himself up to being that elite if he can find consistency, especially good decision making. Now, obviously, Manchester United played him and he's injured, but it just shows how much we rely on Rashford. He squints here and there in the game. It doesn't look comfortable, but I feel like we need him. We can't. I just feel like no matter who we're playing, like he provides that creativity, that spark. What do you think?
Yeah, with Rashford, I just got this kind of like, some days I like him, some days I don't like him. The way he plays, he's a very frustrating player to watch. He's a very frustrating player to watch. The thing about him, he can get you like something out of nothing. That's like on his worst game, he can still get you an assist or can still score like a worthy goal and everything. But I think it's about time that he starts to work on his decision making. Because today, the way we play, he gets most of our chances a lot. And if he was to sort out his decision making, he can be one of the most prolific wingers in the world. And I'm talking about players like Mbappe kind of like level, because he missed too many chances. And sometimes when he get the ball too, you don't know what to. This thing that he does it, and it's like he's about to shoot, and then he cut back. And he does it too often. He does it too often sometimes. All you got to do just keep it simple and shoot. Just shoot and see where the ball ends up. But then he always want to just like. He done it like twice today, and it's becoming like his trademark move where he get a ball, he tries to shoot, and then he damn it back, and then the players go, and then he just stand there, and then you don't know whether he's going to shoot, and then by the time you know, the chance is gone. Sometimes just blast through that ball and see where it goes. That's where the best strikers like him. That's how they get a goal, because they don't do none of this thing. They get it, they shoot it. If it works, if it goes in, it goes in. As long as you hit the target, you get a chance of doing it too. But yeah, we do rely on him, and I feel like we need a cover up for him. We need a cover up for him. Personally, I would like Martial to start competing with him. So of course, Martial ain't a number 9. He's never gonna be a number 9. And when the players speak, it. Bruno's like, oh, Cavani is a proper number 9. Pogba say Cavani is a proper number 9. Ole's like say Cavani is a proper. So you can tell the players enjoy playing with a player like that than playing Martial over there. And so I just feel like give Martial and Rashford on the left, let them compete for it. But he got potential. If he sort out his decision making, he can be one of the best in the world. Definitely one of the best.
I do think so. I do feel like his decision making, like you said, it lets him down. But if he can sort that out, he's a grown man now. That whole being too young now is gone out the window now. He's a grown man. He's a leader. He's respected for doing great things off the pitch, even on the pitch as well. So we don't look at him as a child anymore, a youth. So he really does need to, iron out those things. And we hope that, he does that. We hope that as he goes on, he gets more experience, he can sort his head out, sort his decision making out, and help and just get it done. So
yeah. Because today he could have easily got 2 goals today. Easily got 2 goals today if he actually starts shooting and stop doing the most out of the balls too. And sometimes too, look, I'm not even gonna lie, the past few games when Pogba has been playing on the left-hand side, I have enjoyed Pogba playing on the left-hand side than Rashford. I'm not going to lie to you, because with Pogba, he knows when to cross. When he's on the left-hand side, he knows when to cross. Like, he will dribble too, but he knows when to cross. He's a threat also, or like when the cross coming too, he's going to header it too. If you saw from like the goal that Cavani scored in the Europa League, the cross, he headed it, and then he scored on it too. But the thing about Rashford, I feel like he tried to do too much, and sometimes you just don't need to, especially when we are trying to break teams down. You know, you cannot run through 2-3 players. Sometimes the best way to unlock them is not doing like the most dribbles. Sometimes it's just a simple pass. Get a ball, pass it to the side, and make a run. Sometimes that's how you open things up. You cannot go and start to dribble 2-3 players, because that's not in the Premier League, because they always gang up on you. Like, you get a ball, one person is there, one person is there, and they just trying to just like. That's why he get injured too, because they always kicking him too, because he trying to dribble too much, and they're gonna kick you until they get a ball.
Yeah, and that's it. I feel like Pogba, the reason why we can say that we like him sometimes maybe better out there, even though he doesn't track back enough, it's because he's a creator. He's always looking for the opening, the pass, rather than just trying to dribble at guys and shoot. And you saw it from the David Beckham days and Giggs days and all of these guys. That, we had proper wingers that created. And right now we find ourselves having strikers out on the wing that is trying to score more than anything rather than create. And I do think that's a big issue for Manchester United. We ain't replaced our winger since Cristiano Ronaldo, really. And we haven't, Antonio Valencia, Cristiano Ronaldo, that was a very long time ago. And we ain't replaced.
That was a very long time ago.
Right. So we need to figure it out. We really do. But talking about, strikers as being wingers, etc. Look, Mason Greenwood was on fire today. He was on fire.
Greenwood.
He was a guy that is not about doing the too much dribbling. He's doing the dribbling when necessary, right? He's doing the dribbling when necessary, and his first thought is to pop his shot off, on the left foot, on the right foot, straight for the net. And we saw like he's taken his 2 opportunities. Yeah, one was a deflection, his second goal. But the first one, they're all just spot on. Like Greenwood, like the question is with Greenwood, he's probably got how many goals now? Is it 5, 6, maybe in the Prem?
Yeah, I think he got 5 goals in the Premier League now. Yeah, 5 now.
Yeah,
5 in the Premier League. Yeah.
And I've been really impressed with Greenwood, more so this season and even last season. And the reason why so is because I've said it in previous blogs, is that his overall maturity, you can see it coming through. His overall gameplay, you can see it coming through. Being a striker is not necessarily in today's day and age just standing up there on top of the pitch, getting the ball, knocking it in the goal, protecting the ball, bringing guys into play, linking up with your fellow teammates. These are the things that his all-round play, the strength. He's showing that, he's showcasing more what he can do off the ball than what he can do on the ball. He can also show those other elements of his game, other aspects of his game, which is just more. Like, I feel like Greenwood now, these type of performances would make me say, do you know what, Greenwood, I can trust you in a really big game. Now, he's not necessarily someone that I could say I can trust in a very big game, even if he scored all of those goals like he did last season.
Right.
Because he would almost be like a passenger onto when he scores. Whereas now, he's having so much more influence in the game. He's actually fighting tooth and nail, blood, sweat, and tears. He's part of the team now, not just up there waiting to score the goal. So there's other aspects of his gameplay that I'm like, you know what? I've seen a lot in the second half of the season from you than I did see in the first half of the season. Yeah, I saw that you can score. It showed me that you're a good finisher. But are you a good footballer? Are you a good baller? And you look at Saka and you look at these guys, you see that good footballers. You look at Foden, you see he's a good footballer. I wanted to see that from Greenwood, and he's showcasing that to me. And I'm happy about it. And obviously, when those goals come, if you add it with that level of performance, then you're just like, if you marry the two, you're talking about genuinely one of the best generational talents that has come out of our football club.
Right. Because you know what? I think I see why Oli is just trying to get Cavani to say one more season to avoid kind of buying the striker. Because I think Greenwood is going to do okay. And you were spot on too. Last season, he was getting the goals. We all know he's a great finisher. The thing about Greenwood is if Greenwood get the ball outside the 18 or in the 18 and he shoot, he hitting the target. He goes strong left foot and right foot. So we got no doubt about that. One thing that he has been so good about this season has been his link-up play and his further play. Even when he was not scoring, if you watch the past few games that he's been playing, you can just tell that the goals are coming because he has been playing so good. Like when he get a ball, his link-up play was good, and then when he will pass it and then make the run forward. So that has always been coming too. Today, the goal that he scored today, that was a very, very good goal. And a lot of people are going to give Bruno the credit for it, but what people didn't see was that he shouted at him to say, "Leave the ball to me." And his positioning was so good. When the ball came, he shouted at Bruno to say, "Leave it. I'm in a better position than you are." And he smashed it because when you saw his celebration, he was telling me like, "That's it, like just football sense." And that was he told him that. And that's the difference between even his position on the wings too. Because when the ball is coming, if you saw that kind of a space, any winger would have been running into the 18 box, but then he took his time, stay there. When the ball came, it was just that. And there was even one moment too where someone crossed the ball. I'm not quite sure who crossed the ball, and he made a run in between what they call it, the 18-yard box, but he just slightly missed the header. And there was that ball too that Rashford put into the box that he nearly missed it too. So you can tell that he's starting to be in the right positions, which I like too. He can score. That's what the difference between him and Rashford is. When he get a chance, he's shooting. When Greenwood get the ball, his signature move, step over 1-2, and then he decides, am I going left or am I going right? And then he shoot a ball. And I don't care what goalkeeper you are, he shoots with so much power that they cannot save it. By his work rate, his movements and stuff like that, he is really letting off Cavani. And I promise you, I don't really think we need Haaland. I feel if after one more season, you play Mason Greenwood as a number 9 for 40 games a season, and he will get you 20 plus goals easily. He will get you 20 plus goals. And not only will he get the goals too, he will get you assists. Because nowadays, the striker is not about scoring goals, it's also about making the other players around you play better. And when Greenwood play, the other players around him benefit from it too. Last game, he gave an assist and scored a goal. Today too, he scored 2 goals too, and he could have easily got a hat-trick or more. So yeah, I say forget Haaland, man. Greenwood is coming.
Bro, I know Haaland's obviously a beast. He's a beast. And we could potentially save £130 million by sticking with Greenwood. But what I want to see in my team is I want a squad. You look at City, and they really have set the benchmark of what it means to have a squad. And Manchester United, coaching aside, you look at our players and look at the bench or whatever. It's not enough. It's not enough for Manchester United to be where they want to be, to say they're competing at the highest level in all cup competitions and all fronts with our current squad depth. The quality just isn't there. I mean, outside of Donny van der Beek, maybe Amad Diallo, who we don't really know much about anyway. Tellez, you're going into defenders now with Tuanzebe and Eric Bailly and stuff like that. And then you're looking at Shoretore and these youths. Like it's a big gap. I feel like Manchester United, when I hear us linked with guys like Haaland, it's because I know that these guys can come and go straight into the first team. And what that does is it automatically makes your bench strong. Now, I'm not saying we necessarily need to go out and spend 150 million on Haaland, but we do need to be going and getting guys that can say, do you know what? That first spot is mine. Like you are sitting on the bench, not going necessarily and saying, oh, I want you to be back up for Greenwood. I want you to be back up for Wan-Bissaka. I want you to be back up for Luke Shaw. I want you to be saying, you know what? Look, if you mess up tomorrow, I'm coming, or I can come off the bench and smoke you and get that goal.
Yeah, but we see this is the problem too that I go, and this is when I don't like Oli about it too, because in theory we actually go as squad too. We actually do. Look, let's look at our team for example. Yeah, Van der Beek, and Bernardo Silva. Yeah, they are kind of like on the same level. If you play them week in week out, they kind of like gonna give you this a bit of a similar type of player. No. I'm not joking. Van der Beek is a very good player. You saw what he was doing for Ajax too. But since he came to Man United, he has not got a chance to be showcasing that. You know, and you leave him here. Look at our left. Yeah. Look at our left back. Tell us, he is very good. You telling me that that guy is a what's his name? The one that became for Z, Zelchenko or whatever he is. He's not better than him, but he gets to play week in week out. That tourist guy that came there, I don't know. I've been watched much of him too, but he is not really well. We haven't even played Ahmedallo to even see his potential too. But that's what you get. Foden is a very young guy, but he's been getting his chance as we go. We have got to the level where yesterday, what they call it, Sterling was playing, and people were saying like that's Manchester City weak team. Sterling was starting. Gabriel was playing, and they were saying like, oh, he could have selected what do you call it, a much better squad. Is what something. Is he's same age as what do you call it? You know, Machi. Machi is a Premier League winner. Say what you want about him, but he's a Premier League winner too, and he can do the same job that Fernandinho is doing if you play him week in week out too, or if you rotate him well. We just don't do that, and we make our players sit on the bench for too long that when they get out one game to showcase their talent, they don't do that, you know, and that's where the problem is. Most of Man City players there, they are not much better than what we have there. The problem is we freeze our players too much on the bench that when you look at Eric Bailly, he's a good centre back. He's not that much better than City's number 3 guy. You know, it's not Laporte or whatever his name is. They are kind of on the same path. But if you don't play him week in, week out, when he gets a chance, of course he's going to make mistakes. You know, our goalkeeping department is good. So it's just about the manager giving some of these other players a chance too. You know, for example, if you want to play Luke Shaw 2 games, give Teles one game. You know, and then but that way you got a competition there. But when you leave like Van der Beek, for example, today, he got a nice assist. Van der Beek got a nice assist too. His link-up play was very, very good. You start to give him more chance too. And then all of a sudden, you're not scared of getting an injury. You know, right now, let me tell you one thing. If Bruno Fernandes get injured, everybody will be shitting themselves. That's how season going. Man City, Kevin De Bruyne get injured, and it's like, okay, then that's cool.
It's nothing. Yeah,
we can switch it around. Because the other players has been playing already. You know, go on.
No, I do agree with you in saying that we don't rotate our guys enough, and by the time we do rotate them, there's a lot of rust, and therefore they're probably not performing in terms of having match fitness or performing to the top of their powers, should I say? But what I do know is that when I look at City, they've got 2 players per every position, right? Quality guys, basically. You look at us, right, and our defense, I would say, you know what, we've got a lot in defense. One that's cover, you know, we've got Bailly, you know, Twanzebe, whatever. We're not really utilizing them. Then we've got Donny van der Beek, I would say, clearly, you know, as a talent that not getting game time. And then I scratched my head to think, you know, who else on that bench is, you know, Cavani's there is a stopgap, right? He's a long stopgap in a sense where we only look, he's looking like he's leaving anyway. But then you're looking at Donny van der Beek and who else? Because outside of Cavani, Martial's the starter. Who else is there? Do you know? Our squad is not oozing with talent. When you're looking at our previous squads, the history of Manchester United, our club was oozing with talent all over the pitch. And we had a manager that can, you know, get these results. Now, especially with Oli needs the talent. He needs the talent around him because if everyone's saying, you know, if it wasn't for our squad, Oli will be nothing. He needs to be supplied with this talent because that's clearly his strength. Right now,
Yeah.
all I can say is we're not really giving much game time to goalkeepers and goalkeepers, defenders, and Donny van de Beek. Look.
Yeah, but look at when you say talent, look at Ferguson time. Look at the talent that we used to have there. Look, if this was Ferguson time, O'Shea, for example, O'Shea, he say what you want, but he was not the best of footballers out there. But that guy used to get game time. He used to get game time. In this current only team, he will not get game time. He will not get game time.
The difference was Fergie was a world-class manager. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer
Pep is a world-class manager.
Yeah, Pep's a world-class manager, but Ole, we know that Ole's not gonna get, especially right now, that sort of performance out of his players. Not like to the level of Sir Alex Ferguson can. So he needs almost an aid. He needs a cheat code. His cheat code is getting quality players to help him out because
and we're not going to get quality players. We're never going to get quality players like that. We will never get quality players like that. And part of having a good rotation team is making sure that all the players that are there get to play a part, and you kind of like you get the best out of them too. Yeah. And sometimes I feel like he leaves some of the players that on the bench to dry too. I mean, players like Mata, for example, I don't even know what Mata is doing at Man United right now. And I heard about they were planning on giving him like another contract, and you know how Man United is going to give him a contract, and then maybe make him play for another 2 seasons and then get him a team on the coaching team or whatever it is. Mata should move on. Let him go to Valencia or whatever in Spain. Let him go retire there. And if you want to come back, let him come back. He's in a team as part of the team rotation, but you're not using him. They don't know where to play him. So then he's in the squad. And then that's another chance that could have gone to someone else too. I feel like one of the best things is get rid of some of these players and get some of the up-and-coming youngsters in there. They are one of the best. If you want a squad player, they are one of the best to have in your team. You know, give players like Ahmed a chance to play. You know, like look at the Greenwood, our last game. We were like 2-0 up, and he still waited until the 70-something minute.
Yeah,
give these boys a chance. We were able to make like 5 substitutions. You know, and you talk about squad rotation. When you're not giving these boys a chance for them to just do that, how are you going to have squad rotation? You're telling me you think Man City would have been playing their best players when they were that much up on the first leg? Never. He would give the other players a chance to, and they will score goals too. So when they score a goal, and the next game you see him, you're like, okay, this Man City team, this person can do a job, this person can do a job, and then you are scared of whoever comes on.
Especially,
we never do that.
Especially when you spend in total 40 million on a guy like Amad Diallo. You want to see him more. You spent like 40 million on Donny van der Beek. You want to see them more. And I just feel like when you've got these young players like Donny van der Beek, when you've got young players like Diallo, it's not encouraging for any other young person outside of the Premier League, whatever, wanting to come to Manchester United. See Jude Bellingham.
Right.
Jude Bellingham.
I was going to say him.
He is killing it. His Champions League performances was amongst the best.
Right. But if he was Man United, you know he will be doing the same thing Ahmed is doing right now. Because all he's going to say, oh, he needs time. He don't need time. I get that some young players need time. Like even Foden was a very, very perfect example. Pep took his time with him. And now he's going to be the thing. But some players, you just need to put them in there.
I really don't buy it. I reckon Foden was even ready before Pep brought him in. I just feel like he was doing this whole thing about, I want to take my time molding, because what he looked at is he had, David Silva there, who's like a G.
Right.
You're not going to bench David Silva for a new up and coming. He waited till David Silva retired, and then he's like, oh yeah, this is the perfect time. Foden, I reckon personally, was ready, last season and probably even the season before that. But you're looking at Manchester United, and it's a different story because we've got Amad Diallo, who's competing with Mason Greenwood outright, who's not even a winger. And then you've got Dan James. Diallo should be getting a lot more games. He should really be getting a lot more games. In fact, it should be Diallo managing the rest of Europa League games. You know what I mean? He should have been saying, you know what? Europa League is all mine. Just like he does with the goalkeepers, Europa League's mine. Mason Greenwood, you can have the Premier League, unless we need something special from you or whatever. Then you can come on to replace me or something along those lines. But we really should be doing that. But you know what? Manchester United is 8 points gap. The gap between Manchester United and City is 8 points now. We've closed the gap to maybe a more respectable points gap now. Can United? I'm laughing, yeah. Can United close this gap any further or go on to make, win the Premier League? And do you see City basically making any more slip-ups?
And I'm gonna be honest as I can. Today I was watching the game, yeah, and I was saying, like, if we won today's game and we were and City had a game in hand, they will still come back and win this league. So forget 8 points gap.
That's what I said to myself. I said, if we were to be like, play today and go on top of City, maybe say 3 points on top of City, and they had a game in hand, they will come win that game in hand and still give us a gap to the end of the season. Yeah. Because we're not good enough. Look at today. Look, make what you made about Burnley. I thought today Burnley game here, it suited us too, because Burnley, they kind of like headed toward that relegation kind of like zone. So when it became like 1-1, they felt like, hey, we needed 3 points because Fulham are just a bit kind of like getting close to us. So they kind of like, they went for it. Let's just say that they went for it, and it allowed us to kind of like get a space at the back to kind of like expose them on the counter. If it was like this game was played around like January, they were going to sit back, and they were very dangerous on the counter attack. And I feel like they could have even get a goal, So look, it would take a miracle. And I'm talking about a miracle. I think there's more chance here. This Super League going on. The United coming back to catch City 8 points, like that's impossible, mate.
Manchester United, like I said, we've got a more respectable points gap between us and City. We have potentially a very, very, very slim chance of, closing the gap even further. Maybe even having making the end of the season, which we're in now, a bit more exciting. It's better than having those double figures on a board and us just playing for nothing right now. If we can close the gap to a more respectable gap, go on to win Europa League, it would not tell the full story, but personally we will have more points on the board. We would have set our objectives of closing the gap on City's and Liverpool's, and Oli would have done what he needed to do. So as far as I'm concerned, I'll take it.
Yeah, but you know what?
The way this has kind of set up, it's kind of like a disadvantage to us in a way too, because I just wanted us to forget about the league right now. Like, start giving players like, Telles, Ahmed Diallo a chance in the league, But then now, all of a sudden, always feel like, okay, you know what? I can try and catch City. We're not going to catch City, what you need to do is put all your egg in one basket, and that's Europa League. Start resting players, because I will look at our fixtures. I think after that, in between the Roma game, we got Liverpool. In between the Roma game, after the first leg, we go Liverpool, and then we go Roma again. Now you telling me against Liverpool, they're going for the Champions League, so they're gonna come in. I don't see Leicester catching us in second place. I don't see them catching us there, because just rest Bruno. If your aim is to get to the finals, rest Bruno. Rest the good players. But knowing Oli, he's gonna go play Bruno inside, and Liverpool are going for the Champions, so it's not gonna be. And it's a derby too. They're gonna kick him, get him injured, gonna miss the second leg, and then by the time we're going knocked out of Europa, and then second place is just there, useless. So
it's a tough one.
Forget about that. We go second place. We're not gonna catch City.
It's a tough one. Because with Liverpool, you never want to lose against Liverpool, and you feel like if you don't field your strongest squad, it could be a risk. But at the same time, I do hear you. I feel like we can afford to drop 3 points against Liverpool. Rest our key guys, because Roma is going to be the most important game for us. I know we're going to qualify in Champions League. I know we're going to qualify for Champions League, should I say. But what we need is a trophy. What Manchester United need is to walk up on a podium, have confetti dropping down our hair, us kissing a trophy, jumping up and down like headless chickens, but giving us that confidence that, yeah, we've achieved something. And right now, under Ollie's reign, it hasn't happened. That mental block of going to 4 semi-finals and coming up short, or getting to a quarter-final and coming up short, needs to be broken, and needs to be broken early. We don't want to see multiple years of this. Ollie done it in his first year. All right, fine. Second year, he needs to break that, because it ain't going to put us in any good stead going forward if we have guys thinking, you know what, like, I'm only going to lose anyway. Like, look, Arsenal, when they won their first trophy, they wanted to win a flurry of FA Cup trophies. And I think Manchester United probably could be like that. It could lead to more trophies.
Right. Look, because the thing is, this is how I see it. You win Europa League, and then at the beginning of next season, straight away, you go the UEFA Super Cup. You win that, and all of a sudden, Oli has won 2 cups. You know, Oli has won 2 cups. Like, it's not just Europa League, you know. And you know what? Frank Lampard was easily going to do that too, because he won the Europa League. Because he didn't do it. Sorry, Danny, he didn't do it. He was in the Champions League, so that wasn't him. But as I'm saying, you win the Europa League, and then the next following we see you go there, what do you call it, the Super League, and I know for sure we can do that too. So all of a sudden you go from having 0 trophies to 2 trophies, and then that's what's going to start this place. Players like Bruno, for example, once they start winning stuff, they just go there. You got Bruno, who's an European Championship. What do you call it? He won a European Championship with Portugal. You got Pogba too, who's a World Cup winner. You get this kind of like cap into it, and then you start to have like winners into the team. And once you have the winners, then you just kind of like, oh, nobody's gonna say, hey, Oli hasn't won nothing. You take that off the question. I'm just saying, you know what? Forget Liverpool. I don't even think they're going to even make the Champions League. Forget them. Let's someone deal with them. Let someone deal with them. Let's just go concentrate on Roma, rest the players, you know, like against Leeds. For example, I think our next game is against Leeds. Don't play Marcus Rashford, don't play Bruno. Like, you know, give some of the boys a chance. They can do it. They can do it. Like, give them a chance, raise them, and play Roma.
Against Leeds, I agree. With Leeds, I feel like you can play Dan James, Diallo, that speed, you know. Leeds is going to be coming at you. Dan James especially is a guy that tracks back as well as can exploit an open gap. It's a perfect game for him. Play Dan James, take off Rashford. Do you know what I mean? On the right, you can flirt with, you know, your Diallos or whatever. And in the middle, you can have your high, you know, you're going to need the energy. So you have your Fred and you'll have your Scott McTominay. And maybe even Bruno in front of them.
Van der Beek. Because right now, play matters. Because right now, in between our 2 Europa League games, we got 2 rival games. We got Leeds United, who are one of our biggest rivals, and we got Liverpool in between that. So it's like, this is when Oli have to come in and say, hey, which one is our priority? We got second. I don't know what gap we got between now and Leicester, because Leicester got a game in hand anyways. But I just say, hey, you know what? I don't think if you play someone like David James and then Diallo, I don't think we win that game. Worst case scenario, we draw that game. That's another point, you know. Rest the player, let them be fresh, because I know for sure Roma, they're going to rest their players. And come the first leg at Old Trafford too, they're going to be ready. And we need to do the same thing too. We really need to.
I agree. Well, you've heard it from NK, you've heard it from me. Look, today is going to be a happy day for us Manchester United fans. Obviously, you've heard the news of the Super League and all of that malarkey. But this week, these upcoming weeks are going to be very important for Manchester United. We need to find a way. Oli needs to find a way to be able to maximize his squad, get the rotation in, get these important victories under the belt, and progress. We need progression. We need to beat Roma, beat Leeds, and beat Liverpool. Look, this is the channel where all the smoke gets served. I want all the smoke, bruv. So you know what? That's me. That's NK. Thanks for joining. Look, this is the OT99 Banter Room, where opinions are shared and smoke gets served. I'll see you later.
See you later.